Just a reminder, on a podcast I dropped a couple days ago, talked about Kobe Bryant's all-time ranking, talked about Brockhampton. I'm saying this again because I uploaded it right before Christmas and maybe people weren't on the internet too much. Anyway, Ben Simmons. He's really good, but he's looked human a bit this month. And there have been games when he's only attempted like 6 shots or 8 shots. I mean, just this last game against the Knicks, which Philly still won. I mean, he had 8 points and 7 rebounds, or 8 rebounds total, but his overall impact wasn't really felt on the game that much. And while Ben Simmons is really good, I mean, the playmaking and beating guys off the bounce, and of course, because of his size and his athleticism, yeah, the guy's really good, but I do think there are some things to be concerned about with Simmons that we are seeing creeping up in some of these games lately for Philadelphia that I think we can talk about. Now, of course, the big one is the shooting. The dude just can't shoot, which, I mean, there have been guys who come into the league not being able to shoot. It's not like that's by itself a big deal, but I think the fear is just how far down of a shooter he is right now and where he'll have to, like, eventually get to and how long it's going to take to get there. I mean, he's attempted 0.3 3-pointers per game all season. So in other words, he's not shooting threes unless he pretty much has to shoot them. And he's shooting 53% from the free throw line. He's also shooting 29% on shots from 10 to 16 feet, and he's actually shooting 5 for 10 on long twos, but he's only attempted 10, so I wouldn't go nuts there. At what point is it just too difficult to get good at shooting? Like, at what point are you just so bad at being an outside shooter that it's just not going to happen? Now, I'm not saying that is necessarily going to happen with Simmons, but there's quite a difference between him and, like, LeBron James of his rookie year. Like, LeBron's rookie season, he still shot, like, 29% from 3, and he shot, like, 75% from the free throw line. So he had some work to do, but you could see how he could grow into being where he is now. It took him a while to get there, but even so, I mean, LeBron's shot league average from 3 since he was like, I don't know, 26, 27, something like that. Simmons, he's a bit lower than LeBron is. The other guy I want to compare him to is Giannis. And I think Giannis is a decent comparison just because Giannis really can't shoot either. But the big difference between Giannis and Simmons, number one, Giannis still shoots around 80% from the free throw line, so he's able to get some of those points back. He also just gets to the free throw line way more than Simmons does, which, to Simmons' credit, it's his rookie season and he's still shooting 5 free throws a game. You have to assume as he gets older and he gets better, he's going to draw more contact, get to the free throw line more often. So, of course, I mean, he's going to get better. I mean, he's a great talent nonetheless. But even so, if you're leaving points at the line and you're also unable to hit from outside and all that, that's going to be a problem. The other big things with Giannis and Ben Simmons, and again, because Giannis can't shoot at all, like, he's not a good 3-point shooter, he's not really a good mid-range shooter, but he's elite and then some when it comes to scoring at the basket and getting to the basket, is that Giannis attempts about 4.5 post-ups per game, and in those 4.5 post-ups, he is shooting 48% from the field, and I think this mainly comes from him taking advantage of switches. So when he's in a pick and roll and the opposing team puts a smaller guy on him, he can make them pay for doing that, and I think that's going to be a big step in Ben Simmons' game, because right now, you can switch a smaller guy onto Simmons, and he's not always going to make you pay for it. And if we look at Simmons' post-ups, they are significantly lower than Giannis's, as you would expect. Simmons is posting up about 3 times a game, which isn't that bad, but he's only shooting 25%. So it's not like he's really making you pay for switching onto him, and if he takes you back to the basket, he's just not as effective, you know? Giannis puts up about 2 points a game on post-ups, whereas Simmons puts up about half a point. And I'd like to believe that Giannis's points are really higher than that. It's just NBA.com probably looks at a post-up as like simply backing them down and then taking like a hook shot or whatever. Even if Giannis doesn't necessarily just back them all the way down, he might do a face-up on them, or he might just be able to out-muscle them towards the basket while getting at least a couple of inches towards the basket on like an initial back down. Things that Simmons is just going to have to get better at. Now, if we can compare Ben Simmons to LeBron James when it comes to post-ups, LeBron is about Giannis's level in terms of scoring. He shoots 45% on post-ups, and LeBron also accounts for like 1.3 points. But the big thing with LeBron is he averages 1 assist a game off of post-ups, which the only other guy who's really on that level is Joel Embiid. But Joel Embiid posts up 16 times a game, whereas LeBron posts up 5 times a game. So in other words, LeBron's an elite passer, which we all knew. I think Simmons has a chance to do that. Like, I think Simmons can definitely be a better passer out of the low post than Giannis is, because he's a better passer than Giannis, of course. So maybe that'll be his avenue. Even if he's not going to be able to make dudes pay all the time, maybe Philadelphia could take advantage of it with like some cutters to the basket or something. But still, Simmons is going to have to do more in terms of making little guys pay for switching onto him, because as of right now, you can, it's not going to work all the time, of course, but you can get away with that more than you should be able to. But of course, Simmons is 21 years old. Like, he's got all the time in the world to improve on this stuff, but he's going to have to, because like I said before, I think it's going to take a while for him to really be a shooter, and before he starts nailing threes next season. But there's one more thing I want to talk about, once again with Giannis. Giannis averages about 2 rolls to the basket a game, as in he sets a screen for a ball handler, and then he rolls to the basket. I think this also allows him to make up for his non-shooting, because it gets him going to the rim, It creates a different thing for the defense and how to defend him. And he's really good at it because he averages 1.13 points per possession, which is like DeMarcus Cousins levels. So Giannis is damn good at that. I wish Simmons would do this more often. I wish Philadelphia would just call for Simmons to roll to the basket more, because Simmons is averaging 0.2 rolls a game. So in other words, he's not rolling to the basket at all. I think this is what you got to do, If Simmons is never able to be a real outside shooter, and I do think there's a chance that that's a possibility, if he can develop the free throws, if he can develop the low post game, and if he can have some more opportunities where he just rolls to the basket rather than just dribble at the top of the key all the time, then I think that can make up for the fact that he might never develop as a mid-range shooter and as a three-point shooter. Now, of course, he could become good in those areas, but I'm just looking at where he is right now and how he has pretty much no willingness whatsoever to shoot from outside, and it does concern me a bit. Now, is he still going to be a great player in the NBA? Yes. I mean, he pretty much already is a great player. But, little things here and there that I think are going to creep up. If Philadelphia makes the playoffs, I think they're going to go under on every single screen with him. They're going to switch him all the time, and they're going to try to make him beat them with the things that he's just not really doing right now. So, it's a process. You got to trust the process, of course. We'll see what happens with Ben Simmons. And yeah, once again, new podcast. Not really new at this point, but I think some people might have missed it just because of the holidays. Kobe Bryant, Brockhampton, and I'm out of here.